Welcome to the Tactical Dent Tech Podcast. You are now part of a small underground movement of dent technicians from all over the world. We are on a mission to change our industry with innovation, intelligence, and skill. But because we don't rely on an insurance company to steer customers our way, we need to do things different. We need to do things smarter. We do that through a network of technicians that we call the Tactical Tech Movement. Now let's get this revolution started.
Hey, what's up, everybody? John Hiley here with Angela Hiley, the Tactical Dent Tech Podcast. I hope you all are doing fucking amazing. I hope you all are doing amazing things right now.
Yes.
We got next week coming up. Thanksgiving right around the corner, so
Favorite
it's
holiday?
about time to get motherfucking thankful. And if you're not being thankful every day, well then, you know, you're just a piece of shit. I'm just kidding.
I don't know what to say about that.
But, you know, in all honesty, no. I mean, in all reality, I think we all go through times in our life where we tend to not be thankful, and all we're doing is looking at maybe this big goal that hasn't came to us. We're looking at, typically we're even living our first dream. You know, we're in our first dream, but yet somehow we never stop to actually feel that first dream, like what we intended it to feel like when we first thought of it. You know, and a lot of you dent guys kind of know this feeling because, gosh, there was probably a time when all of us, when we first started out, that our very first dream was actually to be able to fix a dent, run a business, make money, provide for our families without the need of any other source of income. So, but then all of a sudden we get there and we've already, basically created a new dream. So we haven't spent any time in the dream that has been given to us. So that being said, that's not exactly what this podcast is about. But that being said, you try to remember that today you're probably living a dream that you had, if not a few years back, 10 years back, whatever it is. And not that whole, man, I hate, like, it's like one of my things. I know some of you guys probably say it, but when you ask somebody, hey, man, how you doing? Or something like that, and they say it really sarcastically. They say, living the dream.
I have a sweatshirt that says that, and I love that sweatshirt.
Well, yeah, but you probably say it a little bit different. It's different when, like, somebody says it with that sarcastic attitude, opposed to when somebody...
You laughed at me when I wore that sweatshirt. I was like, I love this sweatshirt. It's so cute and comfy and living the dream. Like, I don't know.
But, like, I honestly...
Happy-go-lucky.
Like, I feel I am living my dream. And... that being said, is my dream over? Am I at the destination that I want to be at the end of my dream? Probably not, but to actually feel it and be living it now is truly what it is, I think, to be thankful. And, I'm going to tell you guys this, that literally gratitude combined with expectancy is the absolute, it's the cocktail of success that if you can cultivate in your life on a daily basis, meaning that you're grateful for what you currently have, but yet you expect the highest level of everything, every other aspect of your future dreams to be delivered to you. When you combine them two things, you begin walking not only in gratitude, but also in faith with every single step.
You should be very thankful. Because you got a woman like me.
Because I got a woman like you.
And just think, your birthday is going to be on Saturday, and you're going to be celebrating the big 39.
That's right. 39 years young.
And then Sunday's our wedding anniversary, and we will be married 15 years. 15 years.
Together 19, married 15.
Yeah, I was thinking, I was like, damn, man. I met John when he was 19 and I was 20.
Took her a little while to hitch me.
No. You proposed to me, like, when Jonathan was born in September, then you proposed to me a couple...
Wasn't you nude when I did that?
No, I got out of the shower. I had a robe on.
I remember it totally different.
And... No, Jonathan was taking a nap at his swing. We were living at your mom and dad's. And you come upstairs, And I was like, it was like a Saturday, and I'm like, why is John home early? Shouldn't he be like working at the car wash? And you come upstairs, and I will never forget, you had this look on your face, and I was like, oh no, what happened? What did John do? And John comes upstairs, and he's like looking at me, and he's all like nervous and frantic, and I'm just like, he's like, don't say anything. Don't say anything at all. And don't you remember? Do you remember you got down on one knee, and then you had this little box, and then you opened it up, and it had my ring in it.
I always envisioned it being at like some sort of nightclub, and I rolled up with my posse, and then we popped out. Everybody gave us VIP seating. I already had you sat in the back.
No.
It wasn't like that?
No, nothing like that.
Man, us dudes make up shit in our own head about what happened.
No, you were so frantic though. I could have sworn, I'm like, what happened now? Well, what'd you do?
What did I do now?
What did you do? I was thinking the other day, because I was like, I feel like sometimes my song is that one. It's by Tammy Wynette, Stand By Your Man.
Yeah.
I'm just like, Lord have mercy. I was like, I've been standing by this man's side for 19 years.
She don't know how good she's got it, is what it really is.
No, you don't know how good you got it.
Earlier today, she was expressing her feelings, and when she was done, I just told her the truth. I was like, I just was picturing your boobs out the entire time.
Now next time when
You guys should try that. When your wife, is it really expressing your feelings, and you know how they're really trying to pull you into like a boo-hoo moment?
I was not trying to pull you into a boo-hoo moment.
Just picture them naked in front of you the whole time.
No, it's because
now listen, don't say a word.
You dismissed my feelings last night, and it made me mad, and it upset me really bad. And
then I farted on her before I went to bed.
And that pissed me off. And then, because it stunk really bad. And
oh, I thought it was so funny.
No, it was not funny. And I did not kiss you goodnight because you made me really upset. But then,
but I kissed your butt goodnight.
That is true. You kissed my butt goodnight. But then I was trying to explain to John, and he tells me this.
This is really our relationship, by the way, guys.
I was like pouring my heart out, which you understood how I felt, right?
Yeah, I was kind of, like I told you, I was kind of looking at it more of like a third-person view.
I know, but I don't understand why you were standing there saying, however you were picturing me. Now I'm going to, have my hands across my chest.
It doesn't matter. I'll picture your arms as boobs.
That's just weird.
Well,
That's just weird. That makes me feel really awkward.
It's the way I deal. Guys, try it out there, okay? So if your ever wife gets in kind of like a dramatic mood and she's got you kind of like pinned down and telling you everything about it, just picture her standing there naked. And listen, now, sometimes I'm telling you guys, you really got to eject out of your own personal emotions, and you got to look at it as a third person, almost like a scientific study. That's the key. Yeah. Because you don't get emotional. That's the biggest problem with dudes. Dudes get emotional and start acting like bitches.
That's not how I just wanted you to understand where I was coming from. And you did.
Yeah, but you were happy, right? With the result, even though what I did.
You sat
At least I told you.
Yeah, you sat there and
I've been doing that forever.
No, you have not, John. You're so full of yourself. No, you have not.
It's a technique.
Oh, my
she didn't hear that one marketing podcast. I told all you guys about it.
Well, you understood where I was coming from, and everything's fine now.
Yeah. Yeah. So, all right, guys. Y'all write that down. Take notes. Thank you. Podcast is over. We're signing out.
You're so full of it.
That was the best tech tip I could possibly give them.
Your tongue getting all
just a little bit.
Yeah, tongue twisted.
Just a little bit. So, anyhow, guys, what we're going to be talking about, guys and gals, what we're going to be talking about a little bit later, or actually we might get into it a little bit now. We're going to be talking about something called Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And
we also talk about validation too.
Well, that's in there. I mean,
right.
that's in the Maslow's hierarchy of needs.
Can I tell everybody like what we were talking about?
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, you want me to tell you? I thought we were going to talk a little bit about this, and then maybe I can talk about that. Or you just want me to talk about this?
Well, no, we can talk about this first. That's fine.
No, I'll go ahead. I'll go ahead and start.
Okay.
Messing with you,
Go
John.
ahead.
Dear God. Okay, so after I had my little meltdown with John this morning before he had to go to the shop, because he dismissed my feelings the last night. So after he left, so John had a phone conversation with someone, and John brought up the word like validation, and I was like, man, why is this like sticking to me for? I'm like, validation. And after John left and I was at home thinking, I was like, you know what? I was like, I wonder if when I was younger that excuse me, that I didn't get like the validation that I needed from my parents. And I think probably like a lot of us can like somewhat relate to this, because when you're younger, you do good in school, you do your chores, you do your homework, you do all this stuff to be validated and like told by your parents that you are doing a good job and you're being praised.
Kind of domesticated in a way.
Yeah, and it's
like a form of domestication. It's the same thing we do to animals, you know. Yes, yes, and no, no. Yes, yes, no, no. Until eventually they're kind of trained, whatever. Sit,
but I mean, as kids, like, you do that because you want to get that positive feedback from your parents. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And so, like, I was thinking to myself, and I'm like, you know what? I was like, I got some of that. But my mom and dad gave more of that to my brother. Now, my brother's younger than me. We're like 2 years apart. And I'm nothing against my brother or anything of that nature. But I was like, they always thought he was like the golden child or something of that. And I was just more of like the loner in the family. Mm-hmm. But, well, he was doing calculus and you were creating booger walls. Yes, my booger wall. But anyways, so back to John, back to what I was saying. I was like, I don't know if I told myself when I was younger or if it was something that was going on in my subconscious, but I was thinking like, one day I'm going to marry the man of my dreams and he is going to love me and take care of me and treasure me and honor me and do all these wonderful things. And for some reason, and I even said something to John like this when he came home this evening. I was like, I was looking at you for some type of validation that I didn't get when I was younger from my parents. And I think like a lot of people do that. Like there was something that they didn't get when they were growing up. So they look at it towards a person or like social media or just other different outlets of trying to be validated that they're actually worthy as a human being.
Well, the truth of the matter is they actually say the subconscious, the one that's actually running the ship, is more like speaking to your subconscious is like speaking to a toddler.
Yeah.
I mean, the subconscious doesn't really grasp like full sentences. Mm-hmm. So like, for instance, if you say something like, I will not be unsuccessful, it reads it as a negative.
Yeah.
It just the word unsuccessful just keeps coming up to the subconscious. So then it will secretly start creating a world around it that validates that you want to be unsuccessful. Mm-hmm. It's the weirdest thing, there's some detailed studies of like neurological programming and stuff like that, neuroscience that's just crazy. Like one of the things I learned is that pretty much like with negative thoughts, they talk about like neurons that fire together, wire together.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I did years ago to get rid of the negative thoughts, because I just had negative thoughts firing through my head all the time. Mm-hmm. And honestly, I can't even remember what they are now because it's been so long since I've had negative thoughts.
Yeah.
And the one thing that I learned was that whole thing, the neurons that fire together, wire together. So I took whatever negative thoughts I was having at the time and wrote them all down on a piece of paper. And then as soon as the negative thought would come through my mind, I would literally fire back with the exact opposite positive thought. And in about 30 days, them two start wiring together. And if you literally, like, they can put you on a machine that studies, like, brain waves. Yeah. And you can see the arc of a positive thought that's like 100 times stronger than one that's a negative thought. So because of that, your positive thoughts will overtake your negative thoughts because they fire at like a higher frequency. Mm-hmm. That's just some crazy shit on the scientific level.
I didn't know that you did that. That one book that I was listening to today, it's called Fuck Anxiety, and it's actually a really good book by Robert Duff. But he was saying he's saying that like a lot of times with people who deal with anxiety, that you kind of... you assume the worst. You assume the negative outlook instead of the positive outlook. And he was even talking about that of like doing like an A, B, and C about like, let's say you take a certain scenario and you write down the 3 things of like your reaction of what can cause you to go in panic mode. That kind of like flares that anxiety up, and a lot of them, you know, there's negative thoughts, and he says you write those down, and then next to that you write a more positive way of a positive way of like dealing with that.
Right. Yeah. I mean that's. And ultimately, you got to force yourself to, when you hear them negative thoughts, as much as you can, to fire back at them.
Yeah.
You know, with its exact opposite, with the exact opposite positive. I used to have this mantra, like anytime my mind starts, I feel like it's going into a more of a negative space, I always say, I'm healthy, I'm wealthy, I'm strong. I'm healthy, I'm wealthy, I'm strong.
Yeah.
Healthy, and I don't even say I am. Healthy, wealthy, strong. Healthy, wealthy, strong. That's all the subconscious needs to hear to start wiring that up to whatever negative thought is firing.
Yeah.
So that's kind of my trifecta, is what I use. And although... You know, like I was talking to her today, and she's been listening to, you know, some different books, some more entertainment books and stuff like that. And I told her, I'm like, you know, you got to spend a little time on the motivational stuff, because you can listen to entertaining audio, but it's not going to give you the same feeling as like a motivational book's going to give you, because it's not really filling your body with that motivation that's needed.
No, you're absolutely right.
I always look at your motivation meter like a bucket that's got a little hole in it.
Yeah.
And the bottom line is, if you're not continuously filling that bucket with water, that little hole is going to be draining all of the time. And when I mean water, it could be things like, you don't have to really hear it from an outside source, because that stuff is truly, if you do enough, neuro reprogramming and you're a really positive person, you can actually start drawing from within. Mm-hmm. And I mean, you're getting a little closer when we're talking about, Maslow's hierarchy of needs. That's when you're getting very, very close to the top, and you're actually in the self actualization arena. Mm-hmm. Which we'll get to that. But I'm going to start off by just talking a little bit. It's basically, if you can imagine a pyramid, and at the bottom of the pyramid, it would kind of have your lowest level needs. Uh-huh. And as you work towards the top of the pyramid, so once you get each need satisfied, you get closer to the top of the pyramid. And they all kind of like stack on top of each other, meaning, you'll have your physiological needs, which are your need for air, water, food, shelter, and reproduction. So that's like the basic human needs.
We can leave reproduction out.
Well, sure, but that's literally the base of human needs. Once that's satisfied, once you got air, water, food, shelter, sleep, clothing, once all that's satisfied, you can actually have time to go to the next level, which goes into safety needs, meaning, now you're looking for personal security, you're looking for resources, you're looking to maybe save some money, build a house to protect you from outside sources, to, even to the point to where I'd say sometimes safety needs, they actually say, even if you buy like a really nice luxury car, you're trying to surround yourself with the type of people that in the event of safety, that they consider you a higher status and protect you more. And I mean, it goes really deep on that safety level. But that could be, said at any level. So, but once you got your safety taken care of, so you got your home, you got your, your safety level taken over, The next level comes along and it's love and belonging. And, people, they want friendship and they want intimacy and family, and a sense of connection is at that level where you're at the love and belonging level. Now, it's not till you get that usually you would seek the esteem level. And I honestly think, I've been looking at this esteem level, and I really think it's where a lot of people get stuck or they have the hardest problem excelling at it. And, especially in a world where everything's trying to break your esteem. We got social media as a huge esteem breaker. And I'll get into that a little bit and just a little bit later. But the esteem basically means when somebody's searching for, respect, self-esteem, status, recognition, strength, and they're looking for, they're searching for a form of freedom during that esteem phase. And the truth of the matter is, that's where I see a lot of people at that phase. Me being, an individual who a lot of people have learned how to do paintless dent removal through some of my structures. A lot of times they learn from somebody, but then they got a hold of dent trainer and it actually, they learned from dent trainer on top of whoever they learned from. And when I meet a lot of them folks, usually especially when they're early on in the dent removal career, they want to kind of be like somebody. There's somebody in their mind's eye that they want to evolve and become. Whether that's somebody who they respect the skill level, their quality and skill level, like a Bryce Kelly, or somebody who they respect their business level, where they're trying to move forward because they want to feel whatever respect and whatever esteem there is that they think that individual has. But the core thing is, that's all part of their journey. That's their inner journey. Which I think a lot of people, I know that I've went through the esteem phase. There's a lot of stuff accomplished in the esteem phase. A lot of people who want rewards and want to, to win at certain things, they're really in kind of a competition to really prove or the validation thing. That we're talking about today is all coupled in the esteem level. And, like I said, there's most people that will always stay at that level, but I truly believe there's going to be some inner yearning. What the esteem they're searching for is not really going to satisfy that craving, because that craving really isn't that of outside recognition. The craving's the next level, which is the very, very top level. And I love this chart because, guys, and by no means am I trying to downgrade anybody that's on any level of this chart, because the truth of the matter is I brought this up so you guys could be self-aware of where you're at, so you kind of understand a destination, or that to get to the top of the chart, which I'm going to talk about here momentarily, you have to go through all these different phases. They're almost like they stack on top of each other. Now, I truly believe if somebody knew I do think some people skip a little bit of the esteem phase. Or let's just say for some people it's way more important, and for other people it's not as important. But there's regardless, there's a little bit of that in everything.
But does it just depend on their personality?
Sure. Yeah, sure. But the truth of it is that at that level, again, you're trying to satisfy an appetite or a hunger that's never going to be satisfied as long as you continue to seek outside validation for whatever you're doing.
Yeah, no, I understand.
Let me tell you guys something. Look, I know this personally. The outside validation, number one, okay, here's the way I am, guys. When I see it, I cringe. Literally, when somebody, I don't know what it is, but when somebody gives me some sort of outside value, it's hard for me to accept it. It's not that I cringe and hate it, because again, I want people to respect what I've done. I want just like what everybody wants, right? But then when it happens, I'm like, oh, for some reason, I don't know, it just there was a time when it did feel much better.
Yeah.
But now it's all I truly seek is that self-actualization, which is the desire to be the most you can actually be, and to actually be satisfied with my own performance without that outside validation.
Yeah.
Like, I'm at the point now where the outside validation really doesn't mean a lot to me, because the truth of the matter is the only person that you need to be validated by is yourself.
Yeah.
And that's why they say the only person that you are ever in a competition with is yourself.
Yeah.
Because you're the only one holding yourself back from being the best version of yourself.
Yep.
Nobody else is. And if you ever, if you are ever expecting the world to start pulling for you, and that's what you're waiting for, man, you're fucking going to be waiting a long time. Because I'm going to tell you guys, man, I had to force my way in every aspect into, I had to basically just not give up. I had very, very little, help, very little. A lot of people come into the channels where they get trained by somebody, or they have a company that helps them get into the business, and they leverage off of that. I did everything the exact opposite. Like, I paid out of my own pocket. We paid out of our own pocket. We sacrificed our own stuff, And then when I was getting up there, it seemed like nobody wanted to help me climb any further.
Yeah.
So it was literally by my perseverance each and every day, and getting continuously rejected on that esteem level.
Yeah.
That I came to realize that it wasn't important, that it actually had no significant value at all.
Yeah.
Because it'll never satisfy the crave of you finding yourself. And if you actually go full circle and you think about what we talked about at the beginning of this podcast, and we talked about domestication and your parents saying, yes, do this, or no, don't do that, right?
Yeah.
In a sense, that 1.5-year-old, that 2-year-old that was curious before everybody started telling them no, that one that looked at the world with bright eyes and was passionately curious and was fully themselves and didn't care what people thought about them, that's almost like who you're trying to come back to.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's like we all came into the world these original. Nobody was a copy. Like, every person was like dead on, original, unique.
You were your own masterpiece.
Yep, and you were your own masterpiece. And our parents didn't do. Our parents did this out of the need for safety. They didn't do it with no bad will. We didn't do it with our children with any bad or any ill will. Mm-mm. But the thing is, we get domesticated through life, and you could even find yourself living a life based on what somebody thought you should be living, meaning you fully came disconnected with who you were.
Yeah.
Because all the true, the core desires and all the core, aspirations and everything that we want to be is in there. But we've had so many other people's opinions and thoughts and ideas, stack on top of our own emotions, that it clouded our view of letting our mind's eye actually see inside the internal of what our spirit really yearned to be, or what it actually fully wants to be. And I believe that when we walk around and you feel this pain or this pull or this pain, it's usually something inside of you, your spirit, telling you that you're not in line with your values. Mm-hmm. Your spiritual side, that spirit side that's inside of you, that 2-year-old that got domesticated, that's that side that's inside of you. Probably we're talking about the subconscious too, that's like literally running the ship, wants you to come back to it. Mm-hmm. And the further you distance yourself with that, the more pain that you feel. Mm-hmm. And I truly believe that that's why people who, even if they get rich or they get wealthy, but they do it in a really hardcore, competitive, cutthroat way, mm-hmm. the problem is they've completely disconnected themselves. As long as they continue to do that and operate outside of their pure values that are actually inside of them, mm-hmm. They have disconnected themselves from the actual internal source that's going to provide happiness. And because of that, they cannot live a happy life.
I would agree.
But the truth of the matter is, I just want you guys to check that out, because that is Maslow's hierarchy of human needs. And it's a brilliant, it's from a psychologist, a Russian psychologist. I think he lived here in America, if I'm correct. I may be wrong about that. But it's just something that his entire exploration, and he was studying people like Albert Einstein, and his whole exploration was to try to find the meaning of life. And the bottom line is, the meaning of life is almost like, from what I understand, is that you're out into the world and you're trying to paddle back to really truly who you are.
Yeah.
And because once you begin connecting at a deeper level with that, I'll tell you what, I've even found it, and it's so funny, like some of the old timers and stuff like that would say things that was so simple, like, speak from your heart, right?
Yeah.
But the truth of the matter is that literally, like, I've done it. I've been on stage speaking from my heart. I've been on the podcast speaking from my heart. You feel a feeling where your mind is being connected with your heart, and you're pouring it into the words that you're saying, and you're in direct connection with who you are at that point. Mm-hmm. And sometimes when you're in that direct connection, or you're in that seamless agreement with yourself, things will come out of your mouth that, like, you didn't even, like, things that you would never say would actually come out of your mouth at that time, almost like it's coming from an inner source that is helping guide you. Mm-hmm. So it's, I'm sure some of you guys have experienced that before. Anytime, well, I'm sure everybody's been in a situation where they're speaking from their heart.
Well, yeah,
but
absolutely.
if you can make it just make it a practice of life. Mm-hmm. And when you listen to your wife, make sure you picture her boobs hanging out.
Oh my God, John, stop!
Did you guys see how I went full circle on that one?
I feel so awkward. I feel so awkward.
Oh, they were jiggling around and everything.
Oh my God, stop!
The madder she got, the more they bounced.
I wasn't mad.
We live in a fun life.
I was expressing to you how I
This
felt.
is a fun world.
Yes, it is. It's a very fun world.
It's so funny, though. The one thing that I did learn about man and woman is that, like Tony Robbins talks about this, apparently.
Yeah.
I heard it from a secondhand source, but we'll just give it to Tony Robbins because I believe the source was credible.
Okay.
So Tony Robbins talks about most of the problems in people's marriages are typically, so we got man and woman that are feminine and masculine. Sometimes them roles get switched, whatever. Let's just keep it basic, okay?
Okay.
Man and woman. Woman's feminine, man's masculine.
Yeah.
Well, men we think completely different. I mean, we need like some sort of like crazy internal mission all the time, and when we're connected to the deepest level with ourselves, we're trying to connect with something that's like something that's internal. Something that's like internal. And a lot of times women focus on like the beauty of dated, like their beauty, like what it is now, the beauty in the trees, right? The beauty of, they're focused on that. And we're focused on this like internal mission, almost like, we're the captain of the ship and the woman is right there beside us, helping, see things that are right ahead. So we're looking way ahead and they're looking like right ahead, right? But a lot of times with the masculine and feminine energy is the feminine energy tends to start picking a little bit, this or wrong, and they get more emotional on things that happen like right now. So when a man might be able to fall like deeply in his like internal depth, a woman could be worried about like little shit that's going on like right now. And truly, it's probably designed that way to save each other, like more of like a primal caveman thing. The woman's like, we need food. What are you doing? Why are you sitting there? We need food. He's like, be quiet, woman. I am making boulder into rolling machine. What do you mean you're making that boulder into a rolling machine? We need food right now. Woman, we can truck more food with this wheel. Right? All right. No, just hear me out.
Why are you making like the women all like sporadic and erratic and?
Because that's what you guys are.
John.
But I'm gonna tell you here. Let me go full circle on this. Okay. Let me go. Come on. This will help a lot of people. Okay. This will help a lot of people. All right. It'll understand. So, but what happens in today's day and age, where men and women started to blend together? So, like men started growing their hair longer, like in the 50s, 60s. Started getting earrings as women started.
Long hair.
Women started like burning their bras. Yeah, sure. And so it was like a mix of the blend of the genders. So what would happen is then, when a long time ago, a man would just be like, huh, what do you mean, woman? It turned into, oh, honey, really? Well, let's communicate about this. So next thing you know, the man got pulled from a masculine right into the feminine. When ultimately,
communication is keen though
but
in a relationship.
Ultimately, man was meant to look at the feminine energy in awe, almost like the wind blowing through the trees, understanding that it's only nature, and never let themselves get pulled into that energy. Now, I'm not saying that energy is good, bad, whatever, but you're supposed to stay in your masculine energy, because the masculine and the feminine energy are like two poles, just like the brain that I was talking about, how you had an arc of energy that went between the two poles. Every single thing in our world has them two poles with an arc of energy. Whether, I don't care whether you're a battery of a car, if you're looking at a light up in your ceiling, like everything, all the way down to like atoms. They pull from like two little sources of energy, like little on and off pieces of energy that are literally polar. They have polarity towards each other. And literally, the man will get pulled out of the masculine, and both of you will be on the feminine scale of energy, meaning there's no arc of sexual attraction at that moment. The arc of attraction is gone.
I mean, I do not want
so
you
because
to be
of that,
a girly man.
Yeah, because of that, you can't allow yourself, when you are dealing with feminine energy, to be pulled into feminine energy.
But there's a way of being compassionate and having empathy and understanding and like wanting to help your wife out when she's having a meltdown.
Yeah, but you enjoyed everything I did earlier today. And I was looking at it from a third person point of view. I was trying to eject myself out of the situation and take a scientific approach. And I also pictured you with your boobs out.
Well, I mean, as long as you understood where I was coming from and that you respected my feelings, then we were good.
But did I get in there with you and say, well, I feel this way?
No, I didn't want you to do that. I wanted you to listen to me.
Well, you feel this way. I feel this way. And then all of a sudden, bam, I'm right there in the feminine. I'm right there on the feminine spectrum. And we are down there. I think
that would have even caused like more chaos. That probably would have.
Of course it would have.
It wasn't pissed me off.
That was never meant to be.
That is true.
We were meant to seat into who we are, fall into our internal vision given to us by God.
Okay, so I get that, but not all women sound like how you were trying to mimic us.
I don't know about that.
John.
Guys.
No.
Guys.
Of course they're going to side with you, John.
Come on, guys. Give me some love here. Come on. Don't bail on me.
You should. Well, you know what, though? I will honestly say that, like, you have became, like, if you weren't with me, you wouldn't be the man that you are today. Wouldn't you agree with that?
Of course.
I've helped you tremendously along the way.
I always envisioned myself having an apartment on top of a bar.
No, you did not. You wouldn't be where you are today. You would not be where you are today if you had an apartment above a bar.
I don't know why.
Mm-mm. And you know it's true.
Yeah. So, is there anything else you want to go over tonight there, Boobie girl?
That is not nice, Josh.
Try it, guys. It's the best ever.
Oh, my God.
As a man thinketh, he become. Don't ever let anybody pull you into that energy field. And know your truth.
Wait a minute. Say that. Say it.
I say that to her all the time. I say, I know my truth.
People need to watch Couples Retreat. It's like one of the best movies ever.
As soon as I heard him say that on Couples Retreat, Vince Vaughn, I was like, that's my line forever.
I know, but they remind me of us, like in some ways of how our relationship is. I don't know. You kind of have that you have like a funny sense of humor to you, and just like the whole thing about when he got bit by a shark, but he really didn't get bit by a shark, You
could see me doing that?
Like, somewhat in a way, but not, I mean, like, what it is like...
I'm a shark victim.
No, like, what it is John, like, if something happens, John has this way of, like, really elaborating the story. And I'm like, no, that's not how it happens.
Guys, I swear to God, one time, like, so I used to do this, you guys know that I used to do ninja training, right? And we've talked about this on the other podcast. drove her crazy because I was going to these. People don't know that, but here in Dayton, it's like the worldwide ninja. You know, Stephen Hayes is here. He's like the lead of the he's like a lead of the entire world ninja clan. So, but the funny thing is, I took their training, and a lot of times I was taking. I was paying for the additional courses. Like I was training with the, 3rd, 4th, 5th degree black belts, and I was learning all their secrets and all this shit, which turned out to be a really great experience. But backing away from that, like I ended up blowing my knee out when I was in a training course with one of the black belts. I was doing a private lesson on perfecting a stomp kick, and ended up blowing my base knee out. So I kicked with one knee and blew my other knee out on the other side. Well, I go into Panera one day, and one of the girls is there that's like a 2nd degree black belt, and she's kind of like a big, heavy chick. And I run into her, and I'm talking to her about it, and she's like, "Oh my God, what happened?" I told her, and she literally, her eyes almost went back into her head, and she started stumbling backwards and hit a wall like she's about ready to pass out in the middle of Panera. And I had to there's a dude ringing somebody out beside her, and I'm like, "Hey man," I'm like, "Look dude, she is getting ready to fall down." And he kind of looked back and glanced. I'm like, "Dude, you need to go get somebody to get her." They literally had to walk the manager out, and she couldn't say anything. She was like, it's like she was half awake and half asleep. Like what I told her literally just almost caused her to pass out.
Maybe she just didn't have the stomach to kind of... Did you go into some great details about how you blew your knee?
Probably.
Yeah, some people do not have the stomach.
So the manager came out and got her and walked her to the back room. And she kept saying, "I need to call my mom. I need to call my mom. I need to call my mom."
Oh my God, what did you do?
And I'm like, "Oh shit." Because I just thought, because she was one of the black belts, she probably heard about people, their knee blown out. I told her everything, what happened to my kneecap and all that stuff.
Yeah, you went into elaborate story.
Yeah, and that's the very first time that I had ever told somebody something like that, and they had that type of reaction.
Yeah, but I'm talking about sometimes you can take this story and it turns into this big story of all this other stuff that had transpired. And I'm like, no, that does not go down like that. So I have no idea where you're getting this stuff from.
I just see your boobs out. I don't know what you're saying. So here's the funny thing. I was training a guy. His name is Nicholas. Was it Nick Prang? Might have been Nick Prang. But anyhow, he's up in the Michigan area, and I was training him, and the same thing happened to him. So believe it or not, this dude was driving down the road, and one of them big ass fucking geese flew through his window and hit him in his head, and blood everywhere, broke his window, ran his car off the road. A big ass giant geese just flies through his window.
The ones you don't like, right?
Yeah. And he asked me, he says, "Are you okay to see graphic stuff like this?" And I'm like, "Yeah, man, fuck yeah. Let's check it out." And he goes, "Okay," because I guess he showed a guy at a body shop, and the dude just passed out. Turned white and fell over right in front of him.
Yeah,
and I seen it. That bird fucking flew, literally. There was, if you threw a turkey through a windshield, if somehow you were able to get a turkey through a fucking front windshield, that's how the dude's window was blown out. I don't even see how it's possible. I mean, you guys know how hard it is to get through a fucking windshield. They got that plastic shit in the middle and all that stuff.
Was the
bird went through it.
Was it, scared and it was, flying and it was erratic?
He said it killed the bird. Yeah.
And it was panicking or something, and
Shit.
it just accidentally ran into
all I think is he was just driving, and then a bird blasted through him, hit him in his face. You know what I mean? He probably didn't even know what the bird was doing.
Though, right?
Yeah, he had to go to the hospital, get stitches and everything. The thing hit him right above his eye, split his eye wide open, bled everywhere.
Well, I'm glad it didn't take his eye out.
Yeah.
Thank goodness.
He'd been my first one-eyed student.
Wait a minute, was he on his way down here or something and that happened?
No.
Oh.
So, anyhow, I hope none of you guys passed out in your car while you were driving on that one.
No, I just think some people don't have the stomach for it, and then other people do.
That being said, y'all, we about done. We're going to bounce out this podcast.
Yeah.
Because guess what? motherfucker right here is getting Black Friday, Cyber Monday ready. And I'm telling you guys right now, it is already, I'm like 2 weeks ahead of time, and it is already bigger and better than what last year is going to be.
Well, next week is Thanksgiving.
Yeah, we are dropping some tools that are absolutely phenomenal. We've got a lineup like you won't believe. And this year, I did a deal with most of the tool companies where they're shipping it all to me. So I'm going to be running around that new shop location you guys probably seen on my Instagram for all you faithful and decent Instagram followers. Hint,
What
hint.
about your Facebook people?
And you guys too. So that being said, the whole shop, and all that stuff is like literally like I'm gonna have like one area for everything, So I'm not gonna tell you guys what we're giving away yet,
some good
just
stuff.
because I haven't contacted every tool company. There's still little ones that are well, I mean, and big ones that are popping up. I'm like, oh shit, I haven't contacted him yet. So any of you tool companies that are listening to this that I haven't contacted yet, if you guys want to get in contact with me, you can as well. I'll give you the details. But massive giveaway this year.
I know, it just makes me all ooey gooey inside because I know a lot of the stuff that's going to be given away, and it's like, it's amazing.
It's like a huge amount
Everybody's
of great
being
stuff.
like super duper generous, and it's just like it's awesome.
It is awesome.
It is awesome. It's very, very awesome.
So all kinds of new stuff going down. A lot of it's going to be done on the Dent Trainer page, the tactical group, some PDR Tool Time group action.
And the Dent Trainer page, right?
Oh, the Dent Trainer page is where all of it's going to be based out of.
Yeah.
So we like to do that because if it's on a page, it can be shared in multiple groups.
Yeah.
So look out, y'all. Your boy's going to be taking over that whole weekend and running with it. You know how I do it. And I'm adding new techniques, new strategies, and basically meaning that I'm trying to be a better entertainer each and every year.
We gotta get you in that dress, that Christmas dress.
Oh, man, I don't want to do that.
Why? It won't be that bad. It might actually be kind of comfortable.
Yeah.
You might enjoy it.
So anyhow, y'all, get the fuck off here. Hey, y'all, I'm going to see you on that next one.
And remember, it's all about the motherfucking hustle.
Bang, bang.
John! That's mine.
All
I'm
right.
getting tired of it. You always steal my bang bang.
Well, you're supposed to say bang, bang then first.
No, you're supposed to say pew pew and then I say bang bang.
All right, we out.
One day we'll get it right.
Well, if you didn't have your boobs hanging out all the time.
Stop!